good, everybody? Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast. We're here every single weekday to support the morning show. If you miss any of the morning show on Stadium, YouTube, or social media, I encourage you to go back and watch it. A lot of great discussions and our best bets and our very first golf plays of the year for the Sony Open, which gets started tomorrow. Now, joining me today, as he always does, my guy, Mikey P. And Mikey, as soon as we went off the air yesterday, the news broke that Mike Tomlin, and it's almost like we were soothsayers, like we could see into the future, because I felt like we were the only show that talked about, could he walk away instead of getting fired? And that's exactly what he did, according to Josina Anderson from CBS. She knew about this back in November, but I'll give her credit. But it doesn't change the fact that he had 2 years left on his contract. I think he makes around $10 million a year. I mean, it's a lot of money that he left on the table, but he's also made a lot of money, and TV will pay a lot of money to the right analyst. But let's start here. What did you make of the fact that they were a playoff team and he still decided to walk away?
I think it should be a message to NFL head coaches around the league. Take a look at yourself. Before you start pointing fingers and saying, I didn't have this or I didn't have that or I was hindered by injuries, maybe look. And I know Tomlin's a little bit different because he had 18, 19 years in Pittsburgh, but that's a guy who understands, what he is and what his recent history has been. So I actually have a ton of respect for Mike Tomlin going, I didn't deliver for you guys. I've overstayed my welcome at this point. I'm going to take a step back. All the best to you guys.
Yeah, he's the ultimate competitor. Like, he's one guy that he's honest with himself. And I think a lot of times in sports, Mikey, guys aren't honest with themselves and athletes aren't honest with themselves. And I'm quite certain that whoever his agent is, that they went out there and they tested the market a little bit. They went out there and they talked to some networks, and then they kind of looked at the openings and said, you know what? I can walk away. He's still going to make seven figures. He'll still make seven figures from one of these networks. And then maybe if he sits out for a year, he'll get that mojo back. And Pittsburgh is kind of like Kansas City. It's not a gigantic TV market. And the word on the street is that he didn't like locally, because I try to explain this to people who don't understand big markets like New York and LA and Chicago and smaller markets like a Pittsburgh or Kansas City. You become ingrained in that society and you hear things. And I think he just got tired of the narrative that is actually true, Mikey. He was a sub 500 playoff coach, won Super Bowl, and that was what, a long time ago. Say a long time ago. So I think that narrative, he just got tired of it. He's like, you know what? If you guys don't want me here, I can go kick it on the beach somewhere and work just on Sundays.
And the good thing for Mike Tomlin is we've seen this blueprint already. Sean Payton did it. Sean Payton went to Fox, kind of put his head down, and now look what Sean Payton's done with the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix, right? Number one seed in the AFC. So there's a few times where you feel like a guy like a John Harbaugh. His best course of action is likely to just find a new opportunity. Now, whether that's the Giants or Falcons or somewhere else, we don't know. With Mike Tomlin, you're so polarizing. And when you see a guy who's respected by not just his players on the roster, but everyone around the league, coaches and players included, you go, I think I want to hear him talk more.
No doubt about it. You are listening to the Coach and Company podcast, Mikey P and the coach. I was comparing these two because they're several years apart in age. Remember when Tomlin got hired, he was one of the youngest coaches in the history of the league. They've only had three coaches in Pittsburgh since 1969. And then I was like, why would Harbaugh and not Tomlin be so aggressive about not wanting to sit out? Then I thought, you know what? He's in his 60s, and he doesn't want to give away a year. And I also think because of his asks, and if people don't know, $20 million a year, nobody's balked at that. $11 million a year to pay to his assistants. Nobody's balked at that. He wants to handpick his GM. That never happens. It's always the other way around. But I think that he put his toe into the water and he realized these teams are willing to do it. And my team wasn't willing to do it. So I think John Harbaugh is as happy to leave Baltimore as Baltimore is to get rid of him. Is that a crazy take?
No, not at all. And I think it's good on John Harbaugh to continue his head coaching career. When you can go in and look at the landscape of available jobs, none of them are that great, coach. Like, let's just be completely honest here. Of the 9 vacancies, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, the 2 most shocking franchises to make a change, are the 2 most attractive jobs, maybe outside of New York and Atlanta, given the talent they have. But it's the organizational structure in place, and I think that's what John Harbaugh is looking at the most. And then to me, when you compare the two, it just breaks down the polarizing. John Harbaugh's not polarizing at all. He is just a football guy. Mike Tomlin, also a football guy. But I would listen to Mike Tomlin read me cat and hat. Like, he is just that polarizing figure for me.
I want to hear his opinions, because he'll certainly give you an opinion about things in a press conference. I want to see, because I don't think he's going to be my Eric Mangini. And what I mean by that is not answer questions because he wants to get back into the league. Tomlin doesn't give a damn. I want to see him answer questions, give his opinion, give his honest opinion, because he'll still get hired no matter what. I wonder how much where you live matters to coaches these days, because Miami's open, Arizona is open. And I got to tell you that at this point in my life, I want to live someplace warm all the time. And if those 2 places are open, does that factor in at all in your mind to where some of these coaches may want to go?
I don't think so, simply because you got to have success, right? And I don't know that either Miami or Arizona are built for either short or long term success. And coach, you're absolutely right on Mike Tomlin. I want to throw a little keep you on your toes thought there for Mike Tomlin. How about, and I know right now the report is he's a favorite to land at Fox. However, there is a former quarterback at CBS who's really getting ridiculed in the public media for how he presents himself on play-by-play, and that's Tony Romo. What about Mike Tomlin in the booth calling games?
No, 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 no. That is way too hard. Way too hard. I think you're either a natural or you're not. Greg Olson's the best one out there right now. He's the number 2 guy at Fox. I know Tony Romo has. I mean, Portnoy crushed him yesterday. I mean, he crushed him on their Barstool show yesterday. I think what happened with Romo is that early on he became like the guy that here's what they're going to run. He got very lucky that some really big plays he was right on, and that became his thing. And then also, I believe that Nance, he doesn't make as much as Romo, and Nance calls all 3 sports. And I think Nance got pissed off. You can feel it when they're calling the game, can't you? It's almost like Nance is the ultimate pro, and he gets a little bit irritated at Romo. Do you feel that when you're watching those games?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the only reason for the suggestion. I don't know that there's a lot of booth partnerships that are really working at every single network. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels they don't sound great together. Like they, get along 100%. You're absolutely right with Nance and Romo. The only reason I said it, though, I just think Mike Tomlin's got a very high Q football mind, and I understand the difficulties of the business. I would just love to hear a coach in the booth. That's all.
Yeah, it's and I get that, and I get that. And if they did hire him, it would be because they did a bunch of practice games, because they would never bring somebody in to be the number 1 guy. I think that's where Fox made their mistake, is they gave Brady $330 million, and I don't know that they tried him out, because if they would have, Greg Olson was very, very, very pissed off because he took a $7 million pay cut to be demoted from 1 to 2. And he shouldn't have done that. And I think everybody realizes that now. I think that's why Tom Brady is taking a bigger role with the Raiders situation, because I think he's trying to keep the 30 million, but have his role with Fox not be as big. And I think he would ultimately, I think down the road, don't you like to be like the principal owner of the Las Vegas Raiders? I could see that happening.
I'm going to push back a little bit because I think Tom Brady has grown leaps and bounds from where he was in his first season in the booth. I just look at this past weekend. You've got Tony Romo getting dragged through the mud. And while it's a very small detail when they were on the call for the late night game talking about the weather conditions. Brady had a football in the booth talking about how quarterbacks adjust their hand and their throwing angle because of the weather and the wind. And that's not something we see every single day from anybody. Greg Olsen, Tony Romo, anybody in the booth. So I think Tom Brady's actually taking Fox a lot more seriously than he did in year one.
I do too. Doesn't mean he's any good, but I do too. I do too. I think. I mean, it's for most guys, it's easy money. And when you're Tom Brady, the whole reason he got that deal because he's Tom Brady. There's nobody worth $30 million a year. Let's be honest. I mean, when Joe Buck got $18 million to go from Fox to ESPN, there's nobody worth $18 million to call games. I saw somebody the other day, those hot take X accounts. They'll be like, I'll go ahead and say it. Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy are better than Herb Street and Fowler. You start to hear that a little bit more, especially when Fowler calls the NFL games. I think everybody's got their niche. And certainly I would never insult Fowler and Herb Street. They have had legendary careers, but it doesn't mean that if you're not a big name, you can't be good. And I think that's what we're realizing. And I hope, Mikey, that these TV executives start to see that, whether it's shows like ours. You're starting to see all these podcasts on Netflix and all that. And you don't have to be a huge name to have really good content. And they like to hire the big name. My God, do you see how much Brady's going to get to go play flag football in Saudi in 2 months?
That was actually a topic I forgot to send over to you this morning, Coach. Who just got announced to be joining the Saudi
Who?
Oh, it's great. It's a current NFL player, one that definitely had no injury history this past season. Jaden Daniels.
There you go, Jaden. You're going to play quarterback in a flag football league after you have a bad wing. I'm hoping that these are, what do they call them? Not trophies, but honorary team captains or something like that. Because I think Brady's like $70 million to go over for 1 week. God, I just want to get in front of the money train just one freaking time, just one time. Or I'd love to be in the room, wouldn't you? When the Saudis sit down and either write the check, wouldn't you love just to see how the process works with all that money? I would.
Absolutely. And I just need somebody in that area to go, if only we knew of a NFL fan who does broadcasting and is crazy enough to put a tattoo on his back. We feel like maybe we could make something out of that kid. I don't know.
Maybe we could. Maybe we could. You never know. All right. Topic number 2 or 8. So it came out last night. So Rich Paul, and this is something that is getting a little confusing to me. You're starting to see, people get on, this reporter's this. And I said last week, because a bunch of wrestling dirt sheet writers came after me, and I was like, you guys aren't journalists. Stop calling yourself that. Because journalists don't give their opinion. And now you've got journalists that have podcasts that are out there talking. And then you also have agents and owners like Rich Paul. And for people who don't know who Rich Paul is, he went to high school with LeBron James. They've been in business for years and years and years and years. And they started Clutch Sports. But because of LeBron James and being an active player in the league, he can't be an active member in Clutch Sports. Now, Max Kellerman has a podcast, Mikey, with Rich Paul. And Rich Paul on said podcast said that if it were him, he would trade Austin Reeves for Jaren Jackson. Their contracts kind of align. I think Reeves makes a little over $20 million. I think Jaren Jackson more than that, but they could make it work. And he said that they would trade that. So, of course, LeBron James gets asked about it because that's their number 3 guy behind Luka, LeBron. Then it's Austin Reeves. And LeBron said, wait a second. You all should know by now, after 22 years, that whatever Rich Paul says is not necessarily how I feel. I love LeBron James. But, Mikey, when is he going to stop insulting our intelligence? Because they talk every day. They're business partners. He does all of the deals for LeBron. Make this make sense that LeBron really thinks that we're this dumb.
No, because DraftKings proved it, coach, and not even DraftKings. Kevin Hart. They literally have a commercial about this when he was like, I was there. No, you weren't. That is a fib. All right. I'm not Kevin Hart, coach, but I'm trying my best Kevin Hart impression. LeBron, that is a fib. You know damn well. Man, I wonder if we could trade Austin and get Jaren Jackson. And he goes, oh, I would never say that. What's up, Austin, buddy? Listen, let's go to that is a fib, LeBron James. You do it a lot. We are not buying it. Kevin Hart called you out. And listen, we know what it is. We just can't present it for what it is.
It's something else. It's going to be amazing to me. First of all, when he started doing DraftKings commercials, I said, isn't this the league that has issues with players betting, and yet you can still endorse a sports book? That's number one. And how many dominoes do you think are going to fall when LeBron James officially retires? I mean, he will instantly be the president of Clutch Sports. We know that, right? He wants to make movies. He wants to make TV shows. He wants to do all of this stuff. And God bless him, because I watch The Wall every single week that it's on. I love The Wall. He's behind the wall. So I love that he wants to now also, Mikey, he said any athlete that wants to do content, he wants that athlete to come to them first to produce that content. Do you think he could become a media mogul when it's all said and done?
Yeah, absolutely. And coach, you were and still are a high level athlete. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and hey, listen, if you want to let me speak on our behalf, probably not a good idea. No, but seriously, my only thing for LeBron is whatever you do, please, just like your basketball career, go all in. And I know I just made fun of him, but when I look at LeBron, my favorite show, it's sports related over the past 10 years was The Shop, which, by the way, Rich Paul was on that. And you just had athlete after athlete come in so unfiltered. And it didn't feel like a podcast. It felt like when you asked the question to all of us here at the brand, wouldn't you like to be in the room? That was the room. I know they called it The Shop, but that was the room. And it's not a podcast where you got to give a hot take. Don't forget, that's where Tom Brady gave us the infamous, you're choosing that guy over me when he was an NFL free agent. That's one of the most legendary lines in NFL free agency history. So, LeBron, just go all in on whatever you decide to do. That's all I want.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Also, The Shop is kind of cool for those people who've never seen it. It took place in a barber shop because in the black culture, the barber shop is where everybody chops it up. Remember Coming to America? That's where they chopped it up. And so he kind of reinvented that. I know they do seasons because he likes to do seasons. But have they canceled the show, or is it just on hiatus?
It might be on hiatus. I almost wonder if because of his role as an active player, if they were like, hold on, like you're getting a lot of press right now and just you're LeBron James. So why don't you wait until after you retire to make that a thing? Because like I said, it's completely unfiltered and I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would love someday as we build out our networks, because we're only a year into this thing, year and a half, and I have to keep reminding myself. I get impatient because I want to deal with Netflix, I want to deal with Amazon Prime, but you've got to build up your shows, you got to build up your production, and that's exactly what we're doing. But I would love to have 8 or 10 shows that are different and have a show like that that's completely unfiltered. And I'd love to have Ja Morant as a guest because he continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. I'm quite sure that he did not want to get on a plane and go play overseas. But he did, and he's been out for 5 games, and he was asked about being on the trading block, and he said, quote, guess I got to live with it. Mikey, if you were making 40 million plus and they told you you had to go to Mars, do you think you could learn to live with it?
Just a little bit. And I would caution Ja Morant to use his words wisely, because when you're getting suspended for guns and then you don't, fix your attitude and you continue to do the same thing over and over, do you think the Grizzlies were like, we just got to live with it? Like, we just have to live with it. They're not going to get significant value back for what he was when he first entered the league. Ja hurt not only his stock, but the Memphis, and I know he may not care about the Grizzlies' return, but he hurt that stock as well. My favorite thing in this whole controversy, coach, is people playing connect the dots. Where could Ja Morant go? Because if we're talking about Ja Morant, the personality, he probably has about 4 options that might be good for him, and that's it, because I don't trust him in a lot of big places.
I think he's got to go to some place that has a really, really, really big alpha, like a Los Angeles. They've got 2 big alphas there. I think and I'm just throwing teams that have alphas, not that he would go there. But Boston has 2 alphas, maybe 3. I think he has to go to a team that can keep him in check. He's got to go to a team that they pull him aside right when he gets there and said, "Listen, man, if you can just keep your mouth shut, you're an all-pro level talent. But you got to go to the facility and go home and play video games. Go to the facility, go home and play video games. You don't go out, don't do any bullshit, nothing like that." And if they can get that Ja Morant, Mikey, he could turn a team around or make a playoff team a championship quality team. The problem is, do any of these high level teams want to risk getting rid? Because you got to match the contracts up. They got to be within 15%. Dollar wise, you can't just trade one guy for one guy. I don't know that any of these teams would. Do you?
3 of the teams that are rumored to be interested and connected to Ja: Sacramento, Brooklyn,
Ugh.
and Miami. And the only alpha in Miami is Pat Riley and I guess Eric Spoelstra to an extent. So that may be the most logical fit if Miami decides they want to flip a Tyler Hero or Andrew, whoever it may take them. Now, you talk about like maybe a Minnesota, another team that was rumored. Because Anthony Edwards is an alpha, but he is a young alpha. And I don't have to tell you, coach, sometimes your head gets a little big when you're young, and then you're like, wait, hold on. Who's the no. I'm the big dog here. So I think they would clash. I think they would be fun on the court, but I think they would clash. So I don't think there's just a lot of suitors. I don't think there's a lot of realistic options for Ja Morant because those powerhouse teams and those alpha teams don't have need or want for him.
You know what? I will not call him stupid or Trae Young stupid because they've been smart enough to wait until after they get their max deal and then they do the stupid stuff. So there's that. Oh my God. I can't believe Trae Young and Ja make $40 million plus. At some point, we've got to stop this nonsense and stop the NIL nonsense. Like all these big bags, I think, and I know people don't agree with me, but I think you're going to see a big reversal on these big contracts, on teams willing to pay 40, 50, 60 million dollars. I think you're going to see a lot of teams go, hold the phone. Hold the phone. All right, that's going to do it for no, go ahead.
I was going to say, just to that point, I believe the number, it was the College Sports Commission, which kind of oversees a lot of what we're seeing in college athletics right now. The number I saw, they turned down at least 500 proposed NIL deals for just like suspicious reasons. So it would be fantastic to hear more of that. But still, even turning down 500 NIL deals or not approving 500 NIL deals, it's like that's just a start. There's so much more to go for here.
By the way, did you see the story on Ty Simpson? By the way, speaking of NIL,
I love it. I love it.
I mean, I love it, but so for people who don't know the story, Ty Simpson was starting quarterback at Alabama, and he just announced he's going to go into the NFL draft. Only if you're a first-round draft pick is your contract guaranteed, and you've got to be like the number one guy. And I think it's 4 years, around $25 million now, because it's a complete salary cap, Mikey. He said that when Miami lost out on Sam Levitt, where did Sam go, by the way? Is he signed yet?
LSU.
He did go to LSU. Okay, so I knew he was there the same day they were talking to Damon Williams. He said when they lost out on Sam Levitt that the Hurricanes, who are playing for a national championship on Monday, who will lose Carson Beck, called him back and raised their offer from $4 million to $6.5 million, which is reportedly the same amount that Arch Manning gets from Texas. I've never told a player, don't go chase your bag. But Mikey, why would he not go to Miami? He goes, well, my legacy at Alabama wouldn't be what, who cares? There's no legacy at Alabama. What are you talking about? What did you make of the numbers?
Yeah, in 2026, college athletes don't have legacies anymore. Sorry to let you know that, Ty Simpson. He must really, truly believe. I think I think the wild card in all of this, coach, is Dante Moore. If Dante Moore does not declare for the draft, Ty Simpson's QB2 in this year's draft class. I think 2027 draft or 2026-27 draft class is a lot deeper at the quarterback position. But props to Miami. You're preparing for a national championship, and somebody in the department goes, yeah, you guys worry about the game. I'm going to go offer $6.5 million to Ty Simpson. I mean, they just got all the resources right now.
It's amazing how things can change quickly because they had that NIL booster who like guaranteed $200 million. That fell through. But now, did you see that the ACC, they don't make Miami spread that money around they got from the playoff? So I think so far by winning the 3 games, they've made between $30 and $50 million,
Yeah.
and they get to keep all of it.
That's Ty Simpson money.
Interesting. There you go, Ty Simpson. There you go. Just got something real quick from producer man. Steelers offense coordinator Arthur Smith has received a request to interview for the Cardinals head coaching job. Oh, so there you go. Also the Titans too. So we're going to take his awful offense from the Steelers and let's take it to Arizona and Kyler Murray, or let's take it to the Titans and Cam. I mean, what are we doing, Mike? What are we doing? Come on.
He's never been, I know he's respected, but he's never been this all-world offensive-minded genius. I guess, thankfully, Arizona doesn't know what they're doing at quarterback, but Tennessee, coach, I know he's your guy. I'm going to take a step back on having PTSD from his time in Chicago. I want to see Matt Nagy get a second chance, and I would actually love to see Matt Nagy with Cam Ward. I think that could be a fun fit. But Arthur Smith, I mean, you can't even have communication with Aaron Rodgers in the helmet or on the sideline. Please don't get another head coaching job.
Why would you say Matt Nagy is my guy?
Well, he's a Chiefs.
I don't care. I don't care. Coordinators are not my guys. Andy Reid's not even my guy. He still can't figure out. Years ago, biggest frustrating moment of my entire fandom when they were down by 9 points. 9 minutes to go in the game, and they did an 8.5-minute drive. Think about that for a second. They scored with 30 seconds to go in the game, down 9. There you go, Andy Reid. No hurry up, no nothing. He doesn't know how to manage the clock. None of them do. None of them do. Dan Campbell, call me. All right, Mikey, great job today, buddy. I will see you tomorrow. That's going to do it for today. Do not forget, coming up at 2 o'clock Eastern time, it is Off the Ropes with the Coach on channel 156 Sirius XM. If you have not caught our Coach and Bro episode from Monday, I encourage you to do that at our BTT YouTube page. And tomorrow, Thursdays, 2 hours of domination on the Stadium Network, 10 to 11, Coach and Company, 11 to 12, Coach and Bro. That'll do it for now. For Mikey P, producer man, I am the Coach. This has been the Coach and Company podcast, and we will see you tomorrow.